Right, you've dropped more money on your wedding day than you probably did on your first car, but by 4 p.m., Uncle Dave's checking Sky Bet and your cousin's already eyeing up an Uber to get home. This is what happens when your entertainment falls flat on your special day. So this podcast, we're going to go through some pro tips, some do's, don'ts, what to do when it comes to your entertainment for your wedding to make sure that your special day isn't a forgettable event that everyone's completely forgotten about come next Monday. So there are 3 problems you guys got to bear in mind when it comes to booking entertainment for your special day. The first problem, most entertainment options miss the mark. Now there's 3 subcategories that I'm going to talk about to really help you understand this. The first subcategory is they're too loud at the wrong point during the day. I want you to think of like a sax player during the drinks reception just after the ceremony. I've actually been to a wedding before where someone booked a scream singer at this point in the day, and it was just awkward as hell. You got to bear in mind this is the point of the day where your wedding guests are going to be conversing with each other, they're mixing and mingling, and that can be really hard to do when there's lots of sound blaring in their ears, and it just makes people uncomfortable. Now there are obviously points of the day where your entertainment can be loud, and there's a fix for this point of the day if you'd like some music that we're going to talk about later on in the podcast. The second part of this subcategory is the entertainment is too staged or there's a massive setup. I want you to think of things like stage hypnotists, comedians, circus acts that are booked for indoors or ideally outdoors. However, we'll talk about why we should probably avoid these realistically. But if you think about it, if you book a circus act, for example, they're going to have to spend 30 to 45 minutes putting up scaffolding, bringing in their circus props, and it just disrupts the flow of your day. The other thing that you got to think about this as well, more often than not, you're going to have to spend more time talking to your venue over health and safety concerns and whether they're going to be able to accommodate this kind of entertainment. And it's just a headache really you'd much rather avoid. And the third subcategory for this is entertainment that splits the room. You want entertainment that's going to bring people together. And this happens because you're basically catering for a list of guests that are a variety of ages, different backgrounds. You've also got 2 families coming together more often than not with a bunch of different personality types, different tastes of entertainment that they're going to enjoy. We're going to go through some acts that more often than not that split the room later on down the line. But when it comes to booking your entertainment, you really want to bear in mind bringing your guests together. So the second main problem you need to bear in mind when it comes to booking entertainment for your special day is your guests are going to span across multiple generations. You've got kids, college friends, parents, grandparents, 2 different families are coming together again. What's going to work for your uni mates isn't necessarily going to work particularly well for Aunt Margaret, for example. Okay, so you need to get entertainment that can adapt, and it's going to include everyone. If it can't engage both ends of the age spectrum, you probably want to think about getting a different act, as that is the wrong one for you. And the third problem that most wedding couples forget about when it comes to booking their entertainment is planning for the dead zones of your wedding. So what's a dead zone of a wedding? It's a point of the day where the energy level dips, or your guests are kind of left wondering, not quite sure what to do. Now, there's a few different spots that I'm going to talk about in this right now. First one being the post-ceremony drinks reception. This is the part of the day where more often than not, the couple's going to be whizzed off for their photographs. And for your fans and friends who aren't as involved in these, this can be a really slow point of the day for them. So I always recommend you get some entertainment booked in for this time slot of the day, keep those energy levels up, and make sure everyone's having a cracking time. Second time of the day that I recommend getting entertainment is during the wedding breakfast. There's awkward silences when people finish eating, and you're also going to find them out how hard you guys try and put together a table plan where everyone knows each other on the tables. You've set yourself a task that is nearly impossible to complete. So I always recommend booking in some ice-breaking entertainment during this point. Walk around entertainment's perfect, and we've got a couple more surprise suggestions we'll talk about later. Third time slot that you need to bear in mind is the room turnaround. Usually between the wedding breakfast and the evening reception, the venue staff are going to need a little bit of time to sit there and put the tables away, turn the room around, the DJ is going to come in and get set up. And this is the point of the day where the energy level dips the most. This is when your wedding guests normally sneak off to their hotel rooms. Some of them will even actually leave the venue, go pick up smokes, go to a shop or whatever. Because again, guests are kind of left, in no man's land. They're not sure what to do. They're bored. Always get some entertainment in during this lull period, guys, as again, you want to keep those energy levels up. Now, there's a few fixes for these, but before we go into those, guys, I'm going to go through some acts that I would consider bad suggestions for a wedding. Now, I don't want to sit there and make this video about bashing other acts, entertainment acts in particular. These acts are really, really good for different types of events. In my opinion, though, I just don't think they're particularly appropriate for weddings, and more often than not, when I've been booked alongside them at weddings, they do split the room, okay? So the first act that I'm going to suggest not booking are drag queens, with risky routines in particular. They're bold, they're fun for some, but for your older and more conservative guests, they're just going to feel uncomfortable. And more often than not, they're also going to overshadow the couple, and you risk offending some of your guests because they are going to tell cheeky jokes. It's what they do. Number two, talking about jokes, comedians who humiliate your guests or tell filthy jokes. If they're telling filthy jokes, it's not appropriate for any of the kids that are there. And also, if they are telling filthy jokes, more often than not, the older generation aren't going to particularly enjoy this. And if you're just getting comedians that are going to poke fun at your guests, you're just going to end up pissing them off, quite frankly, and offending them. Avoid it all situation, guys. It's just not worth it. Third recommendation I'd avoid are freestyle singers who drop the F-bomb every other sentence. Again, it's not appropriate for kids. You're constantly covering their ears. You'll find that Nan's going to walk out the room when these guys are on. Not great. Now, to sit there and bash my own industry a little bit, I personally would recommend you avoid shock magicians or gory illusionists. So I need you guys to think like blood, needles, disturbing visuals. It's just the complete wrong vibe for a romantic day. Okay. Number five, burlesque or risque dancers. This might suit some themed weddings before I proceed with this. Some themed weddings. However, they're usually not family friendly, and some of your guests who are couples at the wedding, the risque dancers, I've seen a lot of men get in trouble with their partner because they're looking in places that their other half don't want them looking. Avoid this confrontation, avoid the awkwardness. Again, I just don't think it's appropriate for weddings, guys. Now, the next act that I'm going to talk about, these can work for some weddings, but they do come with a caution, okay? So I've worked with some of these acts and they've been amazing. And these acts are living statues or clowns. However, there's been other times I've worked with them and it's just bombed badly, okay? Kids get scared, older guests find them awkward, and quite frankly, they're not engaging enough to hold attention for long. So living statues or clowns, unfortunately, are out for this. They do work for some weddings, but again, you're not going to have them around long enough. And once they've done their thing, they're gone, okay? A good rule of thumb to think about when it comes to booking entertainment, guys, to avoid, if there's anything that you're thinking about booking where your nan would leave the room, or if kids' ears and eyes need covering when the act forming, I would maybe think twice before booking them. Remember, you're booking entertainment to bring people together. You don't want to split the room down the middle, okay? So now that I've kind of gone through some acts that I personally would recommend avoiding, I'd like to go through some fixes and talk about some entertainment acts that actually work really well for wedding. So I spoke a little bit earlier on about certain entertainment acts being too loud at the wrong points during the day. One of the fixes for this is get live acoustic musicians. These set the tone beautifully for your wedding day, particularly during the ceremonies, early drinks receptions. The music's more often not soft enough so your guests can still have their conversations. Think of things like guitarists, violinists, harpists. Keep it classy. You don't want to be going for a pub band now, okay? Second recommendation I'm going to recommend, and these are super loud, but they always go down a storm at weddings, are singing waiters and waitresses. These are great for transitioning the wedding breakfast into that turnaround lull period, maybe even into the evening reception, quite frankly. It's a really fun way of keeping the energy level up just after the wedding speeches and ending the wedding breakfast. Love performing alongside singing waiters, waitresses. Highly recommend you get one in for your special day. Third act I'm going to recommend are table sketch artists or character curists. These are people who go around, do quick drawings of your wedding guests whilst they're keeping them entertained. They allow them to give your guests nice little keepsakes to take home with them. And because you're going to have guests with lots of pictures of themselves, more often than not, you'll have conversations being created from these because your guests can be comparing each other's drawings, which again is a great way of bringing people together. I'd also highly recommend getting a photo booth for your wedding. Now, this does go against some of the advice I said earlier on. There's a small setup period for these, usually between 10 to 30 minutes. However, when they're set up, they're fantastic. Your guests can go see these in between courses during the wedding breakfast, during the slow points of the day. And for your guests who don't want to get involved with these, they just don't go to the photo booth. It's simple. Most photo booth companies will bring props that your guests can take photos with, and they'll also leave your guests with little keepsakes that they can take home with them that remind them of your special day. And then the final type of entertainment I can recommend, surprise, surprise, are walk around magicians. We hit every table, we adapt to the crowd, and we're experts at bringing strangers together. Now, combined with what I do as a magician, mind reader, hypnotist, and a gentleman pickpocket, we get reactions, we get laughs, and we bring real emotion to your special day. You're not just ticking a box of this, you're creating real moments for your guests. We don't need a stage, we don't need a microphone, we're just skilled performers that gets people talking. Now, I'm going to come with a small disclaimer here. There is one time I will step into the spotlight at a wedding, and it's only for the special couple. Either right after the speeches or during a quiet moment of the day, I'll pull the couple aside for a quick private show. Now, there is the option to sit there and get your guests involved in this, creating a little semicircle around them with your photographers and videographers on the other side. That way we can get some great live reaction snaps. You'll get some unreal shots for your wedding album, once in a lifetime experience that is specifically for the couple. And with me, I give them a personal gift that they get to take home with them. Most of my couples have just popped above their fireplace with family photographs and things of that nature, but I like to keep that a surprise if I can. It's the only time I'll break the flow at a wedding for a performance, because it's the one moment that is truly yours. To wrap up this podcast, guys, all of my pro tips, do's and don'ts when it comes to booking entertainment for your special day. If you're planning a wedding and you want to actually get it to feel unforgettable for you and your wedding guests, feel free to head over to my website at www.gregholroyd.co.uk. Feel free to drop me a message on my socials and we'll make some magic happen for your special day. But for now, I hope you all have a fab day, evening, whatever time zone you're in.